Lockdowns from Bangalore to Manila may prompt firms to reshore jobs. Reshoring is the transfer of a business operation that was moved overseas back to the country from which it was originally relocated. With us now for more is Bong Borja, President Alorica Asia. Good to see you, Bong. Welcome to the program.
Hey, good to see you again, Kathy.
So what do you
Thank
make
you.
of the,
Thanks for having me.
President's decision to extend the ECQ, and that includes Metro Manila, Central Luzon, Calabarzon, and the other provinces?
Well, as you can imagine, it affected most of our sites. And it's tough for everybody. It's tough for business, but more so, it's tough for our employees. But I think that's the right thing to do. I mean, we need to make sure that our employees' welfare and Filipinos' welfare comes first and foremost. Like in anything we do, safety comes first, and we care for our employees first.
Has work from home really worked out for BPOs, especially the employees? Because there's the uneven levels of internet connectivity in communities, and managing sensitive data such as financial transactions, that isn't something that one can do at home.
That is true. It's worked so far for us, obviously not for the ones that are sensitive to data privacy and data security. But if you look at a lot of the transactions we handle, there's a lot of them that does not require that level of data security, and we can deploy them to work at home. So we have around about close to 30% of our workforce doing work at home. And then the ones that are sensitive, like the financial services verticals, for example, then we service them from the office. And that's part of our skeletal workforce.
Yeah, the verticals. Did some of your workers have to stay in your offices for the duration of the ECQ to serve the verticals?
Correct. So we follow the government mandate. We have a lot of people staying in hotels all over the country, but we also have a few that are staying in our premises, obviously following social distancing guidelines.
Now, AFP is reporting that Australia's Telstra and Optus and Britain's Virgin Media have announced plans to recruit hundreds of staff back home in their own home countries. All of them, as you know, have offshore units in India as well as the Philippines. Could you confirm this?
So I cannot confirm those specific companies. What I can confirm is that there are companies, generally speaking, that are reshoring jobs back to the U.S. And primarily because it's less restrictive as far as working at home and working in the offices are concerned. It's also easier to deploy work at home logistically in the U.S. because almost everybody drives cars. They can just load their PCs and all their equipment in their cars, go home and work from home. In our case, it's quite challenging because, one, you have to go to a checkpoint. Second, you have to provide shuttle services or logistics transport to bring those computers at home. So, in terms of convenience, expediency, and also in some cases, data privacy and data security, they decided to reshore some jobs back to the U.S.
So that reshoring had already begun before the pandemic, or would you say that accelerated as they realized the difficulty of offshoring these jobs?
No, I would say that it started during the pandemic itself, but I also see a strong bounce back, right? Some of those companies, or a lot of those companies, reshored jobs on a temporary basis. And some made even commitments to us that they'll bring it back. And we expect that to happen during the bounce back.
I wanted to pick up on what you said about the reshoring. It's now going on, but the companies have promised that they'll be back after the pandemic. What sort of companies are they in, and in which industries and which markets?
So usually the ones that are having high demand on their services. So this would be a lot of new economy companies, e-commerce type companies, who obviously have a strong demand for online support, online sales. But obviously the brick and mortar companies, as you can imagine, are also having a slowdown in their demand. But so this would be the companies, the ones that are in the new economy space, some of those in the remote social media, conferencing type clients. So those would be the ones that have immediate demand and cannot wait until the pandemic actually finishes or goes past. And so they're trying to reshore as quickly as they can.
So, what's the strategy of getting them back now that they know the difficulties of working in an emerging market like us with internet connectivity issues, lockdowns that require shuttle services, and a lot of checkpoints? How do you entice them back?
So obviously, we're making sure that working from home becomes the new normal, right? So there's going to be a lot bigger percentage than before of our workforce working at home. And we're having to work with the telcos, the local telcos, to ensure that there's more broadband and better connectivity for our workers at home. And they're on that. They're meeting with us regularly on it. But also, if you look at some companies that decided to reshore, there's also some sensitivity issues in terms of how they want their data handled. But we think that once we bounce back and we're able to open up our offices, even if it's only at 50% capacity given social distancing, these guys are going to go back. Some of them are more comfortable being serviced in the office where there's direct supervision, there's direct coaching, and there's a lot of advantages. Obviously, work environment where there's collaboration and teamwork.
As we're trying to get our heads around the new normal, the wider use of AI is now seen post the pandemic. Artificial intelligence able to handle tasks not performed by humans. So how much faster do you see this trend taking place? And could that mean faster job losses than there are new ones created here in the Philippines?
Well, first of all, it's been ongoing even prior to the pandemic, right? There's a lot of digital transformation, use of chatbots, use of bots, use of AI to lessen the agent interaction or to help agents have better interactions. So that's going to continue. Is it going to happen at a faster pace? Yeah, I think so. Obviously, the demand is making us push for more of those. Is it going to impact jobs significantly? I don't think so either, because the demand for human interaction is there. A lot of this AI and bots are there to support agents, or in some cases be the tier 1 support, and tier 2 are still conducted by humans and by agents, right?
So how are you preparing for all this? First, the return to what we know is the new normal, and for BPOs to still be the pillar of the country's economic growth.
Right. So obviously, social distancing, as I said earlier, is going to be part of the new normal. So we're preparing our offices to ensure that we operate at a lot less density and capacity than we did before. What that is between 50, 60, 70%, we don't know yet. We're obviously waiting for the government guidelines. But I expect that we'll be operating in our offices at around about 50%, at least in the initial stages. And so that would be a lot of things. That would mean reconfiguring the offices, reconfiguring the pantry areas, and how we manage the traffic in the elevators and the lobbies. And then outside the office, obviously, we need to prepare for more work at home and push more work at home. The other thing of note is that as much as we practice social distancing and safety in the office, we disinfect every 2 hours, for example. When people walk in, their temperatures are taken and their hands are sprayed with disinfectant. We also are aware that we only cater to a third of their normal life, right? So the other 2/3 is actually when they're either going to and from work or in their homes. And so we try to give a lot of messages and communication to help our folks practice safety in and out of work.
Before I let you go, as you've got some China exposure at Alorica, what can we learn from your China operations? How did your Alorica China offices do as Wuhan and the rest of the nearby provinces went back to business? What's changed?
Well, interestingly enough, our China operations is back to normal, right? So our operation in Tianjin is almost 100% working at home, but it's normal. And the other one in Dalian is they're all operating from the office, and also it's operating business as usual. It's the Philippines and India where we are also focused right now. ensuring that our operations are looked after, and most of all, our employees are looked after.
All right. Thank you so much for taking us through what could be the new normal of BPO operations, a mixture of work from home, work from office, and a lot more AI. Bong, keep well. Thank you so much. Bong Borja of
Thank you.
Alorica
You too.
Asia President.